Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Matthew and I'm here today to talk to you about Everyone As You Pushed Out and self-concept. What I'm going to do from now on is once a week I'm going to put out a poll with like 4 or so suggested videos and I'm going to let you guys decide. This week it was self-concept and Everyone As You Pushed Out. They kind of go hand in hand. I was distracted while putting the poll up by my daughter talking to me, so that's why I put them both there despite the fact that they kind of do go together. So I suppose this one was a bit of a failed week anyway. But from now on, 3 to 4 videos, I'm going to put a poll up and let you guys decide. Every Saturday as well, I'm going to aim to do a live stream. I will be definitely doing one this Saturday, and I'll be hopefully continuing the process from there every single Saturday, so make sure you show up to that. It should be around about 8 to 8:30 UK time, but in the morning or like earlier on in the day, I will be putting up a post to say this is when I'll be going live, so look out for those. With that said, let's get into this video. What is self-concept? Self-concept is the internal programming that you have that builds the world around you and keeps it the way that it is. Think of it like this. You have a blank canvas here. Here is a lens that is your self-concept, and then over here is your 3D. Here, this blank canvas goes through the self-concepts to the lens, and this lens might say, they're great when it comes to money, they really believe in themselves when it comes to their career, but they don't feel very worthy when it comes to love and relationships. So then what happens is that gets pushed through. You might have like a decent career, you might be great with money, but you're having love problems. Reason being is your self-concept, the lens, is shaping the external world. So your internal lensing and programming is shaping the external world. So what that means is if we go into our internal programming and adjust some of, like, let's just say some of the coding, so coding in this instance is limiting self-beliefs. If we adjust some of those and start working on your worthiness when it comes to love and you seeing yourself as someone who is important to others and yada, 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 that when the blank canvas gets pushed through, because remember every single moment is a blank canvas being pushed back through your self-concept, you can change your states like that. Your state changes all the time. So the next time that blank canvas goes through, it might then pick up the new self-concept beliefs that you've been working on, which then reflect to the 3D of you having what you want or being in a better situation. So that is what your self-concept is. Simply put, it is your internal programming that gets pushed outwards. It reflects the world around you. People treat you the way that you feel like you should be treated. So if you feel very worthy when it comes to love, you get treated lovely. If you feel like you're not very worthy when it comes to love, the people that you love won't treat you very well. Your internal beliefs about yourself get pushed out. So if you don't feel worthy, your subconscious mind, because it doesn't know the difference between what feels good and what feels bad, all it knows is what you tell it. If you don't feel worthy, it will place something in your reality that makes you feel unworthy. Because remember, we get what we are, not what we want. So if we aren't worthy, your subconscious mind goes, well, we need to experience that. That is our experience, so I'm going to experience it. And therefore, it might put a third-party situation that makes you feel like you're not good enough. It might have you be fired from your job. It might just do something really horrible, but it doesn't know the difference between good and bad, so you can't really blame it. It only knows what you tell it. So it gives you the experience that you want. It manifests perfectly, which is obviously not a good thing in this instance because we don't want it to be like that. The good thing is that we can switch our self-concept and start being more nicer to ourselves, feeling better about ourselves, believing in ourselves more, believing we're worthy of things a lot more, and then that will reflect out because, again, our subconscious mind only gives us what we are, not what we want, and that is both good and bad. Everyone As You Pushed Out obviously follows the same sort of vein as self-concept, except for it is explicitly talking about other people and other opportunities and experiences in that sense. So it's what you believe about yourself, again, going back to the self-concept, reflecting out to the things and people around you. So everyone being you pushed out doesn't mean that if I was to think about like spaghetti, the people, everyone around me within my immediate vicinity start thinking about spaghetti. There are instances when that kind of thing happens where you think about a song and then all of a sudden like your partner or kid or whatever starts to sing that same song. That kind of stuff does happen, but that's not what Everyone As You Pushed Out is. Everyone You Pushed Out is, I believe I'm worth something or not worth something. My 3D then creates that in other people. So if I don't feel like I'm worthy, my 3D will create like a version of someone that makes me feel unworthy. It is pushing my self-belief out onto other people. All they're doing is looking at me the same way that I look at myself. So if I look at myself like I'm not worth anything, I will encounter people that look at me like I'm not worth anything. If I look at myself as the best employee, my managers and stuff will look at me like I'm the best employee. It is simply, think of other people as your own eyes looking back at you. So let's just say that you've taken your eyes out and just placed them to look at you. That is essentially other people. Other people in your reality can only conform to what you believe about yourself and what you believe about them. So if you believe that you're not worth something, they will show you that you're not worth it. If you believe that you are worth something, they will show you that you are worth it. So this is why self-concept and everyone as you pushed out sort of go in the same vein, except for this is obviously more specifically to the people and getting them to look at you the way, instead of having it created outward. So having the everyone as you pushed out is having other people look at you the way that you look at yourself. Self-concept is what builds the world around you, which creates situations and experiences that prove to yourself that you are or aren't worth something. One thing to remember is that self-concept is not a tool to get you what you want. That is a bonus to what self-concept is. Let me explain. If you are manifesting a specific person, but you feel unworthy, you can still get that person. Might not be as easy, but you can still get them. What will then happen is, unless you continue to affirm, script, visualize, or whatever it is that you do, that you are in that relationship with that person, if you just kind of give up with it because you've got your person, that is where your self-concept takes over. That is where your self-concept then continues to replicate what you feel inside. So where your focus goes, energy flows. And if you focused on having that relationship with that person, you will get that relationship with that person. But if you're not focusing on that end anymore, and you're kind of just letting things go as they do without consciously creating that end, your self-concept will go, well, this is my programming. I'm going to do what I need to do. So if you didn't work on your self-concept, if you didn't build up a better sense of worth, a better version of yourself, that will then take back over, and then you'll start to feel like you're not worth it again. You'll start to pedestalize people. You won't feel prioritized. This is why so many people get hot and cold behavior, because they focus so much more on the other person that they don't focus enough on themselves to become the person that is worth that. Now, everyone is worth anything. I'm by no means saying that you're not worth it, but if internally you feel like you're not worth it, the 3D will reflect it, which is why you get so much hot and cold, because you get the cold and then you start panicking, so you start to try and manifest them back in or manifest a better relationship, which then gives you the hot. But because your self-concept is like shit, if you didn't continue to do work on getting the hot, then the cold will come back. Until you work on your self-concept, you will more than likely always have a problem with constant getting something, losing it, getting something, losing it. Because unless you do focus on it non-stop consciously, your self-concept will just take over. Your world-building program will continue to take over. And if your world-building program says, I'm not worth love, you're not going to be worth love in your 3D. So it is not a tool to get something. You should be working on your self-concept so that you, as an individual in your reality, are the best version of yourself that you can be, so that anything can come in and anything can stay in. You need to get to a point where things in the 3D don't bother you anymore. That's one reason why we work on self-concept. To get things, yes, for sure, there are you can work on self-concept in order to get something, but the main thing is so that you're not constantly having to consciously bring things back in. It's so that you don't constantly get this hot and cold behavior. It's so that you, as an individual, can become the best version of yourself, so that things will stay in without you needing to do anywhere near as much work. If you do self-concept in order to get something, in order for your SP to come in because you've worked on yourself, that is the same as focusing on the specific person to get them to come in. Which means once you stop focusing on being a better person for your SP, and then you start going back to the old you, the old story, the old version, you will lose them again, or you might lose them again. Because you're focused on yourself to get them, which is not focusing on yourself, that is still focusing on them. When it comes to self-concept, you need to be, I am amazing, I am worthy, I am this, I am that, not I am worthy, so my SP comes back. I am amazing, so my SP comes back. You can tailor some affirmations or whatever it is that you want to do towards your SP, but overall, it needs to be for you. You need to be the best possible version of yourself that you can possibly be for yourself. Whatever comes in as a result of that is simply a bonus to it. Okay? So embody someone who has it all. Embody a person who has everything they want, who has people wanting them, who has people showing them respect, people listening to them when they talk, people that see them as unique. Your specific person will also feel that because of everyone as you pushed out. You do not need to worry about letting go of your specific person for a little bit so that you can focus on yourself. They will come in, but not only will they come in, they're more likely to stay in, and they're more likely to come in better because you won't be fighting yourself, constantly trying to get them to come in, go. See what I mean? We switch states like that all day, every day, every single moment is a new state, which means, let's just say someone treats you poorly. Your self-concept is that you aren't worthy, so then therefore you get treated poorly. You can set boundaries and just say, no, that is not how I get treated. I am worth more than that. In a sense, that is an affirmation, but you are setting a physical boundary saying, no, that is not happening, and then you walk away. That in itself, not only is it partially a placebo effect because you're setting boundaries, you're putting out there that you are not going to be treated like that. You are saying to yourself, I am worth more than that, so therefore you don't get treated like that. And you are just switching your state as to someone who is worth more than that by separating yourself from something that shows to you in your 3D that you aren't worth something and saying, no, I'm worth more than that, so I'm not going to even entertain that. You are embodying the state of someone who is self-confident or who is worthy of something. Because if you're no longer going to take the crap, if you're no longer going to let the 3D sort of push you around a bit and say, I'm worth more than that, while it isn't still in an essence an affirmation, you are embodying the state of someone who is worth more than that. It is literally that simple to build up your self-concept. And what that will do is the more you start doing things like that, the more your SP treats you like shit and you take a step back, cut contact, whatever it is, and then go, I'm going to work on myself. The more you do things like that, the more you will see that your self-love and your self-worth will start to improve and start to get better, because you are no longer clinging and saying that if I don't do all the movement, then I'm not going to get anything. Because I hear that a lot as well. People say if I don't message, they're never going to message me. And then that is a pure indication to me that your self-concept isn't high enough. As someone who is the operant power in their reality, why on earth do you think that you have to be the one to message every single time? Obviously, if you want to message, then by all means go ahead, but you do not need to. If your self-concept is, I am so amazing, then why wouldn't they message me? That is what you will get. So those people that say, if I don't message, I'm worried I'm never going to hear from them again, or get sad when they don't hear from them again, you need to look at that and go, okay, my self-concept is not good enough, because as the opera power in my reality, as the most important person in my reality, I shouldn't care whether or not I hear from them. And I also shouldn't expect to be the one to have to reach out to them. The reason that happens so much is because we have all been beaten down by past experiences, and obviously the law of assumption is always working, but up until when you learn about it, it's working against you 9 times out of 10 because you don't know about it. And as humans, we do tend to think the worst in everything. So it's been working against you. So your own subconscious mind has basically created a world that sucks for itself. But because it doesn't know the difference between good and bad, it doesn't know that it's created a world that sucks for itself. So you are now just dealing with the backlash. And because of that, it's created more problems. And now too many people experience it where they're too scared to leave, for a day, too scared to cut contact, too scared not to check up on them on Facebook or whatever. So if you could just take a step back and then set the boundaries and basically show love to yourself again by saying, I am not taking this anymore. I'm not saying you have to stop trying to manifest this person or stop trying to be in this relationship with this person. But if you set those boundaries and say, I am not taking anything that I don't feel I am worth, then that's what you will get. Very similar point to what self-concept is you will never, ever, ever, ever outgrow your worth. The 3D will never give you more than you are worth. Ever. I can't sit here and say, oh, I'm a piece of shit, I don't get this, I don't get that, and then expect to get a job that pays double what I'm on now. I can never expect to say that I am the worst boyfriend in the world, or I don't deserve love, or everyone just leaves me, and then expect to have the healthiest, most loving, passionate relationship in the world. The 3D reflects your inner world. So if you feel like your life sucks, and you're not growing, and you're not reaching it, and you're not becoming anyone better, or you're stagnant, or even if it's getting worse, that is why. Look into your self-concept. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not the odd thoughts of you getting fired, or your SP with someone else that do manifest, because you're not assigning much meaning to them. They're just fleeting thoughts and they don't matter that often. If you start assigning meanings or overly thinking them, then yeah, sure, but the odd ones here and there aren't what manifest. Your life has gone to shit or isn't as good as you want it to be because your internal programming is telling you that you are not worth something better. You can cut out the SP, the money, focusing on saying I have money, I have SP, I have this, and just say, and start working on a self-concept of, I am worthy of love that is passionate. I am worthy of money that flows to me easily. I am worthy of this and that and the other. And it will all come in. I guarantee it will all come in. I have a client, the little mini sort of partial success story. I have a client who is really good, actually. She's really good at noticing when she's doing things wrong. I think there's only so much that as a coach you can do. You can give all the advice, you can do this, that, and the other, but there's only so much you can do, because the other person, you can't sit in their brain and direct their focus on stuff. You have to expect them to kind of do the work for themselves. I have a client who's very, very good at picking up where she sort of like is making mistakes, like, and then she'll come back to me and sort of say, oh, I've been doing this, and then we'll go through it, and then she'll go back and try again, which is great. She has started setting a bit more boundaries for herself, pulling herself away from the situation and stop just focusing on time is one thing, but no longer sort of reacting to the messages between her and SP, or like forcibly trying to push for something. She's just sat back and gone, I'm worthy of this. This is going to come in. I am this. I am that. She's working her own stuff. And not only is she having more movement with her specific person, but she's also had movement with other people that you wouldn't expect to get movement from when working on your worthiness when it comes to love and relationships. So I'm not going to say what it is, because obviously this is her story, but I mean, if she wants to, she could put it in the comments below. But she's having a situation where other people in her reality are reflecting to her self-worth when it comes to relationships with people, when it comes to being like worth something to people, when it comes to setting boundaries and having people treat you with respect. So not only is her SP getting there, so are these other people. When you work on your self-concept and not focus on a specific person or thing, multiple avenues build up. I sometimes talk about my manifesting portfolio, which is where you just kind of dibble dabble into different kinds of techniques at different times of the day. Self-concept is basically that, but for your entire world. So instead of like obviously doing techniques, if you work on your self-concept when it comes to love, this will include family, this will include friends, this will include SPs, this will include like all that kind of, anything that love is related to. If you're talking about money, this will include debts, it'll include making money, it'll be finding money. If that makes sense? You're working on all of these different avenues of that one particular topic, instead of focusing on, I receive money. So then the only thing that you can do is receive money. The way that you receive money is obviously up to the like subconscious mind, but it doesn't include maybe getting rid of debts. It might not include maybe finding money. You know what I mean? When your concept of money, your self-concept, when your concept of money is built up, then anything can happen in regards to any situation. So self-concept is so important. It is the most important component, in my opinion, when it comes to manifesting, because it not only does it help bring things in, it helps keep things in. So, and that is the most important thing, because too many people complain about hot and cold behavior. But if you were to look deep into your own self and how you see yourself and like past traumas and stuff like that, you will see that it's your self-concept that is causing this hot and cold behavior, not at all to do with like how you're manifesting this person. It's just that you've kind of given up with manifesting this person and you've just let your internal programming run riot. So I really hope that has helped. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the intro, so I'm going to mention it again now, but I've now got like a testimonies page going live on my website, so you guys can see where I've like other people that have been having success with me, because I realized that when you were going onto my website, you were kind of just having to hope that it works with coaching with me. So yeah, that was obviously my bad on my half, but I'm now putting some testimonies up. I'm just collating more, so there's only going to be a few for now, but when they start coming in more, then obviously I'll start adding them. So hopefully that will give you some sort of like idea on what it's like to coach with me, and hopefully then you'll choose to come to coaching with me. The ones that I'll be putting up are actually about mostly self-concept stuff, because that's mainly what I try to advocate, because obviously, like I said, to me it's the most important thing. And you'll see how important self-concept is. And yeah, so check that out if you could, or if you want to, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.